Hmm. Hello, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to Life's Journey. Today, with part two of Take That Bold Step. So, we're looking into taking the bold step of faith, the bold step of doing what we think we want to do, the bold step of conquering the fear. Good afternoon, my sister, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So, taking that bold step. So, yesterday I spoke about some bold steps that I took as an individual, some bold steps that I took to ensure that I got to where I wanted to be. And so today I want to share with us. I want to talk about some of the things that we can do as individuals, you know, to ensure that we come out on top after we have taken that bold step. And we know that taking that step is not easy. It's never easy. However, um, the fear of taking that step is what keeps on holding us back. It keeps on holding us back because at the end of the day, you're thinking about the what ifs. Now, in order to take that bold step, it also requires us to do what? Cultivate good habits. Cultivating good habits includes writing things down, praying about them. It also includes us um, getting information about the things that we want to do and then putting them into practice. Yes, planning. Thank you, Sister Militia, and welcome. It allows us the opportunity to repeat, and you know that when we repeat continuously doing something, um, it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of who you are because you're doing it now every day or ever so often, whatever time you plan to do it, it becomes a part of who you are. So we're cultivating habits that will change who we are or will move us from where we are to somewhere else. We're also building on what we know because sometimes we would think that what we know is not of any great importance, but you best believe it is. It is of really, really great importance. What we know is of importance. And once we build on what we know, try to educate ourselves and ensure that what we are doing or how we're doing it, we're improving upon it. That is also a way, you know, of us getting or taking that bold step. You can't underestimate yourself, my sister. Once you underestimate yourself, that's where the problem lies. And I recognize that there are some times that I usually underestimate myself until I know or until I recognize that, wow, I really did this and I did it really well. So you're underestimating yourself and you're saying, boy, I don't think we can do this, or I don't think if I do this it's gonna work out, or I don't think if I do this it's gonna look nice. Stop procrastinating, just do it. um there are I told you about the book that I've been reading called Eat That Frog. Let me show you what it looks like. So it's called Eat That Frog, and there are some tips that I would have taken from this book for myself. And there's one part of the book that says there are some rules in life, you know, for success. And we all know that everybody wants to be successful in life. There's no matter who the person is, no matter their level of education, no matter their level of understanding, no matter how they do things or how they see things, there are everybody wants to succeed, even if they're not doing anything. And so while I was reading this book, I came upon um, Think on Paper. It's the same thing that the Bible tells us. It's the same thing that the Bible tells us, that you have a vision, write it down and make it plain so that others will see it and run with it. Look at that. The Bible tells us, or it gives us the blueprint of how we can be successful. We're still talking about taking that bold step. Now, you're thinking about creating a business, and the first thing that you're going to do is make a decision to do what you want to do. So it's plaguing your mind. I know that I want to start this business. I know that I want to do it, and it keeps you up at night. You're thinking about it. Just start doing what you say you want to do. Simply, just start doing it. Doing exactly what you say you want to do. The next thing that I learned, um, even though I would have known it from reading the Bible, because I love Habakkuk 2 verses 2. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets so that others may see and run with it. It's like us wanting to do something, right? And I would come to you and I would say to you, all right, I'm thinking about buying a car. I think I want this type. You, on the other hand, would be saying to me, yes, I know somebody who bought one, or I've bought one and this is how it treats me, and this is the cost, and this is what I do to get it. I think you should get one too. I know somebody who sells it. I know how you can generate funds to buy it and stuff like that. So because you wrote down your vision and you shared it with someone, and that person is interested in you and your well-being, that person is now saying, okay, I'm going to help you to run with this. So you write it down. And when you write it down, one thing I learned, I have a little testimony here. I needed some stuff a couple of years ago. I remember I had 5 things that were of great need to me, things that I wanted to achieve as an individual. And I remember that I wrote them down on a piece of paper and I placed them in a devotional book that I was reading. And I kept on praying about those 5 things. I kept on praying about them, moving towards achieving them, and sometimes it gets really difficult. However, I remember one day I was bemoaning, complaining to God that I don't feel comfortable about what I've achieved and, where I am and so on and so forth. And the Holy Spirit reminded me that you asked for 5 things. Go and look on that paper that you wrote down those things on. And when you go and look at the paper, tell me what you see there. I went and I looked for the book that I placed the paper in, and I recognized that I actually had gotten 4 of those things that I was praying for. But in my own self, I was thinking, that, it's not, things are just hard and it's not working out. I feel defeated. But I wrote down these things and I made them plain. And I had persons who were encouraging me, and I had persons who were praying with me. And that in itself helped me to achieve. Did I get all five? Yes, I did. I got all five. Even though I was there thinking that, yeah, it's not working out and whatever, I got all five. Saying this to say, the next thing that we should do is set goals. And when we set these goals, we're now going to set deadlines that we need to achieve these goals. And I recognize that if you set deadlines, you are now going to be working towards those deadlines. So I set deadlines in terms of when I want to achieve certain things. And I actually, it because you know that you're working with a time frame, because you know that you're working with a time frame, you are now going to be looking toward getting these things done within that specified time. You're not going to be setting this time to be an unrealistic time that, okay, I want to achieve this in 2 months. And you see and you know your situation and you know that you might not be able to achieve it. But you're going to be setting realistic goals, goals that are achievable, goals that you know you will be able to attain at the end of the day. Right? So you're setting realistic goals. You're setting goals that at the end of the day, you know that you are able to achieve. And that's what I did. And I recognize that it worked. Now, if you continuously make lists of things that you want to achieve and go about achieving them, praying about them, working towards getting them, I derived 3 P's that I use to um, set my goals. I pray about it before I even put it on paper. I push to get it on paper, and I push, I pray, and I plan. So I pray, I plan, I push, and I use those 3 P's to say, look here, this is how I'm going to do it to get what I want. I'm saying this to say, or to encourage us, that if we want something, we continue to pray about it, we plan it, and we continue to push to get it, it will be achieved. It will be achieved. We are organizing a way in which we can get all that we want to get done. And we're getting it done. So our new word for this month, or for the rest of this year, should be think on paper. And I'm taking this word from the book Eat That Frog. Think on paper. Think about what you want, how you want to get it done, but use your thoughts on a piece of paper. Jot it down, write it down, make it plain. Share it with somebody that you believe have your best interests at heart. Somebody who is going to encourage you, somebody who is going to show up for you and push you to get that done. Say to you, oh my God, I believe that you can do it. This is what you can do, to get it done. And the next thing you need is to ensure that you recognize that you are what you put out there. What you put out there, that's you. Cultivate a brand of yourself. Cultivate a brand that is going to say to you, people see it and they're like, wow, wow, this is good. And people will gravitate to what you are trying to sell. People will gravitate to what you're trying to put out there. You want to achieve something in life, you want to build, but you have to start somewhere. You have to take that bold step. You want to get an education? Take that bold step. You want to build a house? Take that bold step. You want to remove yourself from where you are today to the next level? Take that bold step. I told you I started university, leaving a job of 12 years, not knowing how I'm going to finance myself. But I did it. Did I encounter problems? Yes, I did. Yes, yes. It's like creating a blueprint. So even if you die, something just come to me, Sister Melisha. Even if you die, that blueprint is there that your family can use to continue with what you had written down. Even if you leave this earth, that blueprint is still there. It can still be. Come on, you can still get it. Writing it down is very, very important. It's very important. It's the key. It's the key to taking that bold step. Because remember, if you take that bold step, you write it down first. You're thinking about it and you write it down. But just look at how great it is to see your legacy, something that you created, living on. That one bold step that you would have taken is creating revenue, is creating, is living on because you took that step. That bold step is going to propel you into greatness. That bold step is going to push you farther than you ever dream. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to think about encouraging someone to do something that is going to benefit them in the future. It makes me happy to think about encouraging someone to say, look here, this is not the end of the road. This is the beginning of your greatest. This is the beginning of where you can end up creating waves. Now, I want us to understand that there are powers, or there's power in your written words, clear written words, because you're writing it down and you're making it plain. So if anything happens and you notice that even in our jobs, um if we want to get something done, or if we want to remember something, or if we want to get a point across, what do? We write it. And people would say you create a paper trail, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be said that you did not. And I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me a few weeks ago. I enrolled my daughter into swimming, and the days that they changed up the days that they have the swimming lessons. And I went in and I told them that the days that they want to offer her, we're not available to take on those days. And I said to them, I would like to cancel it until you can get a day that we are comfortable with. I said that out of my mouth. They said okay, and I went away thinking all is well. A few days ago, I received a letter, and that letter told me that I am in arrears for my daughter's swimming lesson. And I'm saying, but I went in and I told them that I didn't want to do it anymore because the days that they want to do it, she's not available. You know what people said to me? If you have an email that you had sent this in with, then we can consider that you said it. But if we don't have anything to show that you said it. You went in and you spoke to one person or two persons, but we don't have any proof. Writing it down is proof. Writing it down is saying, look here, I want to do this and I'm penning it today. And this is saying, this is what I want. Writing it down is concretizing that, yes, I want to do this. And I'm beginning, by putting it on paper. I looked into myself and I counted my losses with the swimming team because I did not write it. I spoke to them about it, but I did not write it. I did not send an email. The ink, my dear, never lies. It never lies. And I see where it came up where I did not make note of it, and it is costing me what? £76 to pay for something that I'm not using, but I did not write it. So writing it down is important. Making it plain. My goodness, I like that part. I love that. I love that. Writing it down. So when you write it down, however, you have to recognize that you must take action. You must take action into planning it. So I'm not saying that you should write it down and leave it on the paper. Of course not. Write it down and then start planning. You write it down, you start planning. You're planning now on how you're going to execute, what you need, how you're gonna put these things together, who you can ask for some assistance, where you can go to get what you need to get it done. You are putting plans in place. Now, there are times when you're going to be facing some challenges. And we know that the challenges never stop. The challenges never stop. But one thing I learned, you're going to face the challenges, but you can reroute. Because remember, there are going to be hurdles for you to jump over. And sometimes when you jump over one hurdle, another one is there for you to go over. And you need strength. That's where prayer comes in. That's where your loved ones comes in. That's where persons who know that you have this to do comes in to encourage you, to strengthen you. You remember when was it Joshua? I don't Joshua with the sun to stand still, and he was fighting. His brother went and kept his arm up. But when his hands go down, the sun goes down. And so he had somebody there holding his hands up so that the sun will stand still. This is what we need in persons in our lives. We need persons who are going to hold our hands up. We need persons who are going to say, I see that you're going, I see that you're pushing to get this done. And so I am going to be there to hold your hand up. We need accountability partners. We need persons who are going to come in and say, look here, you wrote this down a few months ago and said you wanted to start. But when are you going to start? What are you going to do? What are the plans? How do you plan to do this? So we have the blueprint. We have so we now need to take again that bold step and move into action. I recognize that when you have accountability partner, somebody who is going to say to you, you said that you're going to do this. Why haven't you started? That's a push there that is saying, I have somebody who believes that what I am planning to do, it can be done. The one who will tell you the truth even when it hurts. The one who will tell you the truth and you look back and you say, okay, I can fix this. If you are not willing to grow, when the truth comes, my dear, when the truth comes, you're going to be upset. You're going to be hurt. And what you're going to do? shut down and do nothing. But if you are willing to grow, you're going to take those constructive criticisms and you're going to make a change in you. There's one thing I've learned. There's this model in business. Is it? I think it's Cotter's five forces. But he spoke about something, and that is you need to unlearn something and relearn. There are ways that we know how to do things. We were born and raised in a certain way, and our parents would have instilled certain things in us. However, times have changed, people have changed, the way things are done are changing. And sometimes you have to unlearn some things and relearn it to move forward in life. We can't be stuck in the way we knew it to move forward. So I used to, this is how I know how to do it, and you're stuck in that way. You can't stay in the way you knew how to do it and not recognize that there are changes that are happening in the world. Yes. And you should open up your mind to ensure that what? You recognize that if I don't change the way I do it, I'm going to be stuck in this position for the rest of my life. I'm going to be right here sitting down while the world passes me by. So, another thing that we need to recognize is that we need to unlearn some things and relearn so that we can, move forward. You know how to fix it this way, but I recognize that there's an easier way, or there's a way that I can get it done faster. Why not change? Mm-mm. You're stuck in your own ways and you're saying, oh, well, this is how I am and I'm not changing. You have to unlearn and relearn, because that's how you're going to get farther in life. That's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to impact other people. You can't be on this earth and you're just coming and going and coming and going until the day you die. You have to do some stuff that is going to impact others, that is going to allow you to make a, I don't know if persons recognize that in this life everybody has a purpose. God created us with a purpose. And sometimes persons would have all these great ideas and go right back to the grave with them. They have all these great things that they can achieve and right back to the grave with them. Are we going to allow the grave to stay with our innovations? Or are we going to take a leap of faith, take that bold step, and do that which the Lord has called us to do? Do that which we can do. Robbing humanity, my sister. Robbing humanity. Because all you're thinking about, it's hard. All you're thinking about, it's hard. Think about how it will benefit your future. Think about how it will benefit your children or your relatives in the future. What can I do with this that I have here? Write it down, make it plain, run with it. Run with it. Do it so that you, at the end of the day, will be proud of who you are. And so that God will say in the end, wow, well done, my good and faithful servant. Purpose should not be wrapped up in grave clothes. Purpose should not be wrapped up in grave clothes and shoved in 6 feet under. And that's what we're doing. We're robbing people of the things that we have that they need. We're robbing ourselves of the growth that we can attain as an individual. And you're robbing your children of a future that God called you to create for them. So it's like you're saying to yourself, you know what? This is too hard. I'm not gonna do it. There are days when you're gonna feel like giving up. It doesn't mean that you should. There are days when you're gonna feel like, okay, I am not doing this anymore. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she said to me, I'm one step from walking off this job and giving in my badge because it's getting hard. And I said to her, I know it's hard, but think about what will happen if you walk off. When you go home, just find a way to de-stress and not think about what you have been going through today, and go back tomorrow with a fresh mind. And she did that. And she called and she said, if I hadn't spoken to you, I would have gone right up there, given my badge, and just call it quits. Sometimes when life gets that way, gets so difficult, that's how we feel because we're human beings. I often say to my children, you sometimes can't think with your heart, but you have to think with your head. You have to create that mindset that is open to recognize that challenges are inevitable. However, there are ways to get. Yes, yes. Sometimes they're trying to dissuade you from that which God has for you. But because you are now saying, you know what, this is too hard, we can't do it. Imagine if you stop from doing what God called you to do. Imagine how many persons you're disappointing. Imagine how disappointing your future would look. You have to take that bold step. You have to get up and do it. I often say this, if Nike Air Man, I have to borrow his slogan, just do it. He got up, I'm thinking and I'm imagining how he got up and created that swish or slash or whatever we call it. How he got up and created. I'm thinking that he just said, you know what? I like sneakers and I want to make some. I'm just gonna do it. And then just create it. Just do it. So I want us to recognize that if we want to succeed in life, if we want to create impact, if we want to leave a legacy, look at Bob Marley. He loved to sing, and I believe that his children now are living off his legacy. And that's because he took that bold step and sang. Now he is world recognized worldwide. Everybody knows about him. I'm not saying that everybody is going to be famous, but I'm saying that you have something that you want to do. Get up and do it. That business that is weighing on your mind, start it. Write down your vision, make it plain. You must have even one person in your corner, even one person in your corner that you can share that vision with. Yes. When it becomes cloudly, someone to share it with before acting. Come on now. And if you share this thing and your accountability partner is there saying to you, you know, I think you can do it this way. Sometimes, when the road is blocked, because we're not going to tell you that you're going through smoothly, but the road get blocked. What are you going to do? Reroute. Reroute. And that's what the GPS does. It reroutes and go another direction. There are so many things, that we can do to ensure that we get to where we want to go. It's never going to be smooth sailing. It's never going to be hunky dory. The songwriter says he never promised that the cross would not be heavy or that the hills would not be hard to climb. So we know that God is there with us. We know that he's going to be sharing that load and that road. He's going to be walking with us. However, if we don't take a step, he's not going to lift us up and put us on the path. Don't sit down and pray and do not act. Faith without works is dead. So you sit down and you pray till the power of the Lord come down, but you don't plan to get up. How does that work? How does that work? You have to do your part. Lazarus was dead. But guess what Jesus did? And I love that analogy, and I usually use it for myself because I'm looking at Lazarus in the in the grave, and I'm looking at how powerful God is. And when Jesus came to the grave, he could have just used his mighty hands and rolled away the stone. But he said to them, roll away the stone. There are some things that you have to do for yourself, even though you pray. There are some things that you just have to get up and do. You have to do your part. You have to show up and do your part. Who are you waiting on to do it for you? What are you waiting on to get it done? How do you plan to achieve it if you don't start? How do you plan to do this without, getting all that? Come on, they had to thank you. They had to unwrap him as well. They had to unwrap him as well. They said, take him out of the grave clothes. Uh-uh. We are now living in a time where the world is open. What are you, come on now? What are you waiting on to unwrap that which God has laid on your heart? Because what I know, if God say he's giving you this, he has already given it to you. He's now waiting on you to step out, open your arms and take it up. But sometimes we sit down and we want to wait on somebody to do it for us. We want to wait on somebody to come and put it in your hands. You're waiting on somebody to come and say, I know you say you wanted this, so I brought it. No, man, get up and take it up. You have two hands. Get up and do what you need to do so that you will succeed. Get up and do. You cannot, one other thing that has been plaguing my mind. You have some persons who they don't see themselves past today. You don't see yourself past today, and that's wrong. You have to see next week. You have to try to picture next month. You have to try to picture outside of today. And that's why we plan. That's why we plan. We plan because we are saying it doesn't have to be the way we plan it, but we are planning because we have what? A hope. We are hoping that this is going to come true. We are hoping that this is going to be a case where, all right, I plan it and it works this way. Will it always work this way? Of course not. There are hurdles and you have to jump across them. There are rerouting areas that you have to reroute. You have to move from this section to the next. But if you plan it, that is you saying, this is what I hope to achieve. And this is how I'm going to do it. This is where God is going to say, all right, I see my child moving. All right, I'm going to move on with you now. Come on, come on. But you're there and you're not doing anything. You're not moving. You're not trying, but you're praying. You're praying and waiting on somebody to do it for you. Come on, people. Take that bold step. and do that which God has called you to do. Everybody on this earth has a purpose. God has a purpose for you. So get up, take that bold step, and do what you need to do. You can rest because you're human, but never ever quit. You can rest, but never ever quit. You're tired, you get weary, so rest. Get up, take it up again, and do what you need to do to ensure that in the end, God is pleased and you are pleased also. You're not doing it just for you, but you're doing it to glorify God. You're not doing it just for you, but you're doing it for your family. You're not doing it just for you, but you're doing it to ensure that at the end of the day, your grave will be left empty. I wrap it up here today, and I thank you so much for joining and commenting. And I hope that our next live, we will be, talking about other stuff life journey has to offer. It's life's journey, and we have to go through it. So, see you next time, and thank you so much for joining. Have a good one. Take that bold step. Take care.